Hello and good morning, everybody. Just give it a moment while people are joining and whilst Ben joins as well. Hi, Ben. Good, we'll just give people a couple more minutes. So welcome to today's webinar on expanding your sales and collection strategy with Omnichannel Communication. So we've got a few cool things to talk through today about Omnichannel, and then we are going to do a live demo as well. Ben has just told us that his internet is playing up a little bit at home, so we'll see how far we get with this, but we'll give it a good go. So whilst people are joining, we'll get started in a moment. But if you are coming in, feel free to use the chat. We have got the chat function within Zoom, and we've got Leah in the background as well, who will answer any questions in the chat. But we've also got the Q&A panel. But I'll start by just doing a few intros first. So I'm Kayleigh Tait. I'm head of marketing at MaxContact, and there's a couple of housekeeping items before I introduce you to Ben. So we are recording this session. So if you do want to drop off at any point, then don't worry about it. We'll be following it up with an email afterwards. So yeah, don't worry too much. We also have got the Q&A panel and box, and if you've got any questions throughout the session, please do just ask them. There's no silly question. We try and get through all of them, and it's really great to hear what your questions are. So yeah, feel free to use that. So we're joined today by Ben O'Reilly. So Ben is our training expert at MaxContact. He brings lots and lots of experience in the learning and development side of his role, and over 5 years experience in the contact center space as well. So works a lot with our clients, helping them to onboard with MaxContact, really show them the best practice and how other organizations are using technology to help their contact center performance and efficiency. So brings loads of experience. So thanks very much for Ben for offering to show everyone around today. So if you are new to MaxContact, we are a cloud contact center platform that focuses on delivering customer conversation outcomes and customer insights to really help organizations generate revenue compliantly. Like I said, I'm Kayleigh Tait, head of marketing. I've been with the organization for around 4 years now, but I've got 15 years experience working with sales, marketing teams to really help drive revenue for their organizations as well, working alongside contact center teams as a part of that channel mix as well. So we're coming at this with a couple of different angles, but hopefully you'll find it useful. And we'll get started. So I'm going to start by just setting the scene a little bit around Omnichannel. So Omnichannel and multi-channel has been talked a lot about different challenges, the adoption of it for a number of years now. So before doing this webinar, I just wanted to have a look at what was the state of the Omnichannel and multi-channel in contact centers. There's a reason that we're still talking about it today. And I think while phone-based communication is crucial and important, today's customers expect to engage with businesses on different channels as well at different preferred times. And that's the beauty of omni-channel and multi-channel. So when doing research into the UK, 31% of contact centers today have, or state they have implemented omni-channel. Which allows customers to use multiple channels when maintaining a history of that conversation, the context of interactions across those channels. 55% of contact centers operate in a multi-channel environment. So usually those setups are a little bit more disparate. Conversation history might be difficult to get that one view of the customers, and it might be harder to switch between channels, which might lead to some customer frustration. And then 77% of contact centers did still state that they primarily rely on voice as their main channel for customer interaction. And I think that's typical across our customer base as well. But we are seeing some great use cases for omnichannel, and especially when it comes to helping close sales, helping in that sales process, but also from a debt collection perspective as well. I think the stats do highlight the ongoing transition, though, to integrated communication solutions in the industry. So a lot of this is driven by customer preferences. So when looking at sales interactions, we know that B2B customers on average, they use around 10 different channels to interact with suppliers on, and that's quite stark and remarkable. Not all of those interactions might be direct interactions with a brand, but they're certainly a large portion of them are. And in B2C environments, multi-channel marketing strategies really help businesses interact with their customers through those different channels as well. And it really, I think how we're coming at this is, what are the unique strengths of each channel and how effectively could you use that as part of your communication strategy? So just some key stats here, really. So 30% higher lifetime value for those brands that are using omnichannel as part of their strategy from a sales perspective. You've got some key stats from WhatsApp and SMS there around the actual usage of WhatsApp with 2 billion active users, and SMS open rates being so incredibly high. Their platforms are at our fingertips. I don't know if anyone's ever done this, but if you've ever looked up the pickup rate of how often you actually pick up your telephone, it's incredible. Well, I found it incredibly surprising. I think one day I had 100 pickups where I was just picking up to check my phone. It's become just natural habit now for people. And that's why those platforms, where they are very much at the forefront of the consumer, they have got huge open rates. So they are a really great tool to use in the right scenario. And then you've got tools like web chat. Organizations that have web chat, their customers engage 4.5 times more likely to convert and spend 60% more on the actual purchase as well. So there's absolutely a rationale behind looking at a multi-channel approach for your organization. So just on to the next slide. Before moving on to omni-channel, usually clients might be using disparate systems. One of those disparate systems might be email. I think some of the challenges around this is that customer information is in different places. It does make it quite difficult to serve the customer in the most effective way, and can be frustrating for an agent as well, and inefficient for your business. So what we'd recommend is bringing email into your platform as well. It just helps with that visibility, and emails can be used from helping to deal with routing people to the right place. So you can set up different queues for sales, complaints, support, whatever it may be. It just helps with that efficiency. You can help the sale and support that sale process through sending out after conversation collateral, or it might be more information around something that is crucial to the sales cycle. So where things aren't happening over the phone and a sale or an appointment can be booked there and then, it might be that you've got a more complex sale that you're talking about, like an insurance package or a pension. Whatever those things are, sometimes it's quite highly unlikely that a consumer can make a decision there and then. So it's a great tool to use to follow up with the consumer themselves, and be able to then book in your next call back after they've received that information. They've had time to digest what that is. And you can also set up templates to help with that as well. So if you have got a campaign specific around a certain product or a challenge, you can set up all those templates and make it really easy for agents to send those off automatically between calls. And it also helps ensure consistency as well. You've also got the ability to confirm the sale or agreement to pay. That's something that we find that's used quite commonly on email. So just to reiterate what has happened over the phone call, it really helps from a compliance perspective as well. You've got everything there in writing. just to recap what has been said. And I think where you are dealing with different types of consumers, it might be a vulnerable customer, the more ways that you can recap what has been said on the call, the better. And then sharing those post-sale support information as well. So it might be terms and conditions, whatever you feel is the next best step after something has happened and you've had an outcome on a call. Again, that can be templated and set up really quickly and easy to send. SMS is a great channel as well for follow-up. Like we said before, it's got great open rates. Many of our clients use SMS to help with booking appointments, and have introduced SMS to streamline processes, help prevent dropouts, and improve conversion rates as well. SMS can also be a channel that is added into IVRs. So for our debt collection customers and security purposes, that they might want a payment link to be sent to them rather than taking payments over the phone. And that's absolutely easy to start to integrate as part of your strategy as well. Customers might feel they're more protected, and it might lead to a higher propensity to pay any outstanding arrears. But effective outbound dialer strategy integration. So how do you bring SMS into your dialer contact strategy? So you can use automated SMS based on result codes. So whether someone is busy, there's a no answer, you can set those up, whatever it is that you think would be best for your contact strategy, that can all be automated. You can build it as part of your contact strategy as well. So you might have your first call attempt, your second attempt might be an SMS, and then your third attempt might be another call. Dependent on the contact strategy for it might be a product or your debt collection, will really depend on dictating that. And you can have different contact strategies for those different debt profiles or those different products, so that you are ensuring that you are not spending too much money to reach some clients where perhaps it's not worth it. That is all considered when building your contact strategy. You've got the ability to add SMS into the IVR as well for informative purposes. So it might be that you want to automate some things that make things easier for clients, whether it's how much is my outstanding bill or how much do I owe you. You can start to build that into your IVR through integration with other platforms like a CRM or a debt collection platform. You can absolutely make sure that that is self-servable through the IVR as well. I think we would always suggest that caution is needed when using channels though. So make sure that you are clear on who you can contact for what purposes, on what channel, and that you are also ensuring that you are clearly able to opt out of different channels as well, depending on the purposes of that communication. But ultimately, it's a great tool to help send personalized information, great for automation, and you can also template-based comms as well. So things like confirming appointment dates. So really easy to use and integrate in your strategy. So on to web chat. So web chat offers significant efficiency gains. So agents can handle 3 to 5 web chats, we'd say at most, simultaneously, versus a 1-to-1 ratio, obviously with a voice call. They can be configured for different concurrent chat limits based on agent experience. You might find actually to start off, let's just have an agent dealing with one web chat, and as they progress with their experience, they can start to handle more really effectively. And it really helps with that getting the information in the hands of the customers really efficiently as well. So ideal for standard customer inquiries before they have to escalate that to a live agent. So from a debt collection side of things, it really helps lower a barrier in getting from a consumer perspective of getting in touch with an organization. It's much more convenient. It's a passive way to reach out. So if someone does want to understand their options with you as a debt collection organisation, it's easier, lower barrier, and yeah, it should help then with the propensity to pay. And you are starting a conversation that you may not have started if you'd only had the voice channel there as an option. From a sales perspective, we've already talked about increasing customer lifetime value, but it's also conversion rates and higher order values as well. Typically, that is down to people having the information and more information before they then start an engaged conversation with agents as well. So a great channel to use, and it is our second most popular channel in MaxContact as well. That is the logical next step that we are finding customers move to when they're starting to want to explore omni-channel solutions. And then finally, we've got WhatsApp and Facebook. These channels are ultimately about meeting clients where they are as well. Typically, there are pros and cons for the different channels. With WhatsApp, obviously, it's a hugely popular platform in itself. We're finding it more popular for inbound customer service use cases. From a pro and con perspective, it can be cost effective for ongoing conversations, and their charging model really helps when you're having a back and forth conversation. The limitations really around it is less flexible than SMS for outbound. It's quite heavily regulated around what you can and can't send, and the opt-in way that they have those conversations is a little bit more locked down than it is across SMS. And Facebook Messenger, again, it's about having conversations that might be in front of a consumer. Some certain consumers might want to reach out across Facebook. It's their platform of choice. But ultimately, we're seeing that really as a use case in inbound customer services and not really something taking off from a sales and debt collection perspective. So just some final points before we hand over to Ben, and Ben takes us round MaxContact's Contact Hub. So we think there's an important distinction between multi-channel, which is separate channels, and true omni-channel, having that one view of the agent and customer interaction, having that seamless passover between the different channels as well. What we'd recommend is making sure that you've got a phased approach when it comes to trying out new channels. Omni-channel, I think a few years ago was spouted, you need to have 15 channels for it to be true omni-channel. We're not seeing that. We're seeing like a good experience across 3 and 4 channels is really vital. So whatever you do, make sure that you're having a phased approach, and what you do well, and that ultimately is leading to success for clients. So evaluate 1 to 2 channels before expanding. And ultimately, you've got huge benefits of bringing those different disparate channels into MaxContact for the comprehensive reporting. It can really help with a view of that one customer side of things as well. And it allows multi-skilled agents to, rather than be channel specific and have silos and 7 platforms that they're dealing with in the background, it allows them to focus much more and be more efficient and performant. So I'm going to hand over to Ben now, who is going to take us through Contact Hub Digital. So Contact Hub Digital, if you didn't know, is our new UI. It is free of charge for our customers to migrate to, and it's really been designed with a view that we want to make the agent's life as easy as possible when dealing with everything that they're dealing with day to day, making sure that from a performance perspective that they're on point and they're being efficient as well. So hopefully you'll see some of these things today that Ben will talk through now. And you're on mute, Ben, just in case you didn't know.
I do. It's just Zoom was jumping around everywhere. Cool. Okay. Hello. And yeah, hi. Let's get on with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a couple of different examples of the types of channel that we've got on here. So what you can see on screen at the moment is that I've logged into a campaign, and I am in the not ready state. And obviously, as you can see, we've got a dashboard there that obviously isn't necessarily 100% relevant to what we're going to go through. So don't worry about those stats and figures on there for now. On the left-hand side, you can see just a brief overview of what I've got before I start going ready and dealing with interactions. Is I've got an assigned to me tab and a queues tab. Assigned to me, I'm not ready, so I can hit the go ready. I've also got a callback set for later on today, which I can see on there, and I can manage that callback if I need to. So I can also set callbacks whilst in interactions and dealing with interactions in here. If I click on my queues tab, I can see all the queues that I am allocated to on there, and I can choose to go ready on individual queues, or I can go ready on everything by the button at the bottom. And as we can see there, I've got some information that's coming through. So 6 queues available. I'm not ready on any at the moment, hence the 0 out of 6. The SMS queue has got an interaction waiting. It's been waiting there for a little bit. We can see my capacity versus how many I'm currently dealing with on each one of the queues there, or the channels, should I say. So I can deal with 3 SMS at the same time. I can deal with 3 emails, 3 Facebook messages, 3 chats, and so on. You've also got call queues on there, and there's something to note on call queues around web chat, and when we get to that, you will see that. So going ready on everything will allow interactions to come through to me, or I can choose to go ready on an individual queue if we want to. So I'm going to go ready on everything. And then, as you can see, I've immediately been allocated one of the interactions that was waiting. Now, we can see here that this is an SMS channel. The contact is unknown at the moment, but the text message has come through, and I can see that on the screen. I'm just going to move the toolbar for Zoom because it's just over the main part of it. I couldn't see what it says. So this is an SMS. On the left-hand side, the first thing to note is I've got a very short SLA on replying to SMSs, and you can see there that it's already turned amber to warn me that I'm getting close to my SLA. So what I need to do is I need to send a reply to this customer. So obviously I'm not going to do a full conversation. I'm just going to type the word hello and then hit send, and you'll notice that the SLA is now stopped. So the SLAs kick in every time you receive a message from the customer. So I'm now waiting for this customer to respond, and on my phone I've received that text message in reply there. So if we go through SMS first, just to say, obviously you can see the conversation in the middle as it happens. Up at the top, you've got 3 tabs. You've got the interaction tab itself, so the conversation. You've also got a script tab. If you are going to be using scripts for your interaction channels, you can see that on there, and that can contain information about the customer. There isn't a script on this particular channel right now, but it can have information about the customer that you can edit as an agent. There's one popping up actually. You can also use messages to do quick responses to the customer if you want to. We also have canned responses, which I'll get onto in a second. But you can have quick response buttons on your script, so your agent can quickly click on a button and it will paste in a message in the reply box below. And then you can choose to edit that and then send it. Or if you do an instant, that will just straight away send that message to the customer. Again, scripts are completely optional. Don't have to use those. They are there if people want to use them. And then you've also got a history tab. Now, right now, this particular contact doesn't have a history in the system. So there's nothing there other than the initial actual active interaction that we've got on at the moment. If I go down to the bottom here, you can see that the reply is in there, the one that I pasted in, but obviously, as you've seen, I can just free type in there. So I can, perhaps I can just delete that and type something else. Whatever it may be. I'm not fast at typing. I certainly can't type and talk at the same time very well, so I'm not going to do that. But what else you can see down here is you've got 3 tabs. You've got the ability to select an outcome. So once you end this interaction, you can choose your outcome for that. Because I've not ended the interaction, if I select that, it won't let me choose an outcome. I've got to end the interaction first. So what I can do is click this button here to end that. This is essentially like hanging up on the interaction. But I can also do that down there at the bottom as well. And we can also add notes. As you may or may not have seen from the voice side of things, you can also add notes to all your interactions, and they will stay in the history tab. So if I just add a quick note in here and hit save, and if I go to my history tab, what will happen is any previous conversations that have gone on, you will see the notes in there going forward. So even if it's not myself that goes into the history, if it's another member of staff that goes on and has an SMS conversation, they'll be able to pick up the notes from in there as well, and they will see them. But you can see now that back on my actual interaction itself, I've got that note on the screen there, so I can see it for this particular one, but they will appear in that history strand if you go back and check in there. So yeah, the conversation goes through in here, nice and straightforward. It will also give you, as is very important for your SMS, it will tell you the amount of characters that you've used and how many SMS this particular message is going to use up, because obviously there's charges implications there if you're doing SMSs that go over multiple, which it will do, by the way. But obviously, you need to be aware of that for when you're sending those messages, that you're not sending 3 or 4 SMSs costing you more money. So the SMS screen is pretty straightforward there. Just a couple of bits up at the top here. This will give contact information for the lead. So for example, this particular one, we don't have anything in there, so we can fill that information in if we want to save this lead's information on the system. Up at the very top here, we can actually search for this contact. So if this is a person that has contacted us before via a different method perhaps, and we haven't already dealt with them on this method, we can match them up to the system. So I can click this button and it will allow me to search for the contact. I can also do that in the side panel here on the actual interaction itself by clicking change contact here. Again, we can search for the contact in the system and match them up. That will then link all their previous history and all their other conversations on here as well. I'm not going to do that just yet. We'll also have transfer options in for the interactions. So we've got a couple in here at the minute, so we can do a user transfer on an SMS transfer to another member of staff on the system. There are none currently logged in to this campaign, so I've got none to be able to select, but you can choose a relevant income, and importantly, you can give them a message as to why you've transferred that to them. That transfer message will appear in the main conversation. The customer won't see it, but your user will, so they know why it's been transferred over to them. There are branch and merge options as well, and right now I can't do that because it's the first initial one. And actually, the way branching works is it creates a separate message, a separate ticket, if you will, based off the last message that the customer has sent in. And because it's the agent that's replied last, the branch option isn't available. There is also a merge option. And again, I can't use merge right now because I've not matched the lead, so I can't find any previous messages. But what merge will allow you to do is find any previous conversations and link the tickets up. So for example, if this customer had messaged in 2 weeks ago about the same issue, I might want, as the agent, to link it to that previous issue. So we've got it all on one ticket, so we can follow that through as per. So I would be able to hit the merge button and search for those previous tickets, find the relevant one, and merge those two together and continue that conversation there. So with SMS, we can see the conversation on the screen. We've got everything in there. I'm going to leave it on there at the minute. I'm going to go back to my queues because I'm waiting for a response from that customer. Now, as you can see, I've still got that email waiting to come through. I've actually got a chat now waiting to come in as well. They've been waiting quite some time now, but I know this is my colleague, so it's okay. They can wait. The reason why I didn't get both the SMS and the email at the same time is because when you go ready, by default, as soon as you receive an interaction, it puts you not ready in everything else. So it won't pull them all through. What you can do on your channels is have a force ready feature active, which means once you go ready, it keeps you ready in every single channel, or the channels that you specify the force ready on. And that would mean that I would have received that email at the same time as well. And what also crucially it would do is it would keep me ready in the SMS queue. So if there are other SMSs waiting, they would also come in as well. So I'd be dealing with all 3 of those at the same time. And obviously, you might not have 6 channels and all of them set to force ready, so your agents are bombarded all from the get-go. You might have 1 or 2 that do that. But what you can do is once you've received one, is you can choose to go ready on another interaction channel like so, and then wait for that one to come in, and there we go. So you can see there now I've got 2 interactions on the go. So I've got my SMS that I've been dealing with on screen, and I've got the email. So if I click into the email now, we can see the email that I've been sent from myself, obviously. So we can see that information, all the images and everything appear within that window. And we can see an attachment that's also been added onto that email as well, and I can choose to download that attachment there. What we've got set up on this particular channel is an auto response. So what will happen is when a customer sends you an email, they'll automatically get a response So that email was sent earlier on at 11:45. So they received an email immediately to say, thank you for your email. We will get back to you as soon as possible with a response. And what I will attempt to do is I'll attempt to bring that email onto the screen in a moment. So as you can see, the emails present really nicely, really easy to see. It's in the same format. There's nothing kind of hidden. There's nothing kind of changed the format so it looks strange or anything. All the pictures come through as they should do. And I can see as the agent that they've received that automated response. Down at the bottom here for your email, obviously we can see who we're replying to. We have the ability to carbon copy people in. You can type in an email address and then hit enter to have that added in. You can also open the address book for your email. So if you've got any emails on the system, we can look in the address book. If you've got a vast number of those, you can actually search and it will partially and it'll filter down so you can see the relevant ones a little bit quicker. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm not going to copy anyone in. So that's absolutely fine. If I click that again, that will disappear. I can blind copy in people as well. So obviously you can do both of those on there. And then you can enter your response as an agent. So again, I'm not going to attempt to type fast because I won't do and it'll take too much of our time. But they can enter a response in there. Down at the bottom, you've got formatting options that you can bring up if you want to format your email response. Something that we took from our previous incarnation of this, which is the web agent, is that this area down the bottom was a little bit small, especially for email use. So what you can actually do with this box is you can actually drag this up as far as you want on the screen. So you can compose a huge long email in there if you want to do that. And by simply clicking, it just hides it from the bottom. So you can go back and refer to the email if you need to. Click back again and it will bring it back up. And incidentally, you can do that on SMS, email, Facebook, WhatsApp, and web chat as well. So there's my response down at the bottom. Again, if I want to add an attachment, I can do so. So if I quickly click on there and grab a document, just as a quick example, that will upload as an attachment. I can clearly see that there. If I need to remove it, I can do by clicking on the X there. And then once I've composed my email, I can send it by hitting send, obviously. So that response will be sent. Now, all I will see here is the text that I've written and the attachment that's been sent. The customer will get more than that. So what you can do is you can set up email templates so that they will get the responses in a nice, easy to view format, but crucially, it has your company headers, your other information, links to websites, etc., etc. If I just drag that in, hopefully you guys can see that. So here's the response that I've just sent. So I've got my attachment up at the top. I've got a header on my email. There's the actual response from the agent. Not very detailed, obviously, for time, but it's got my signature on there. It's got my other information. It's got a link where I can go through and I can book a demo. And obviously, it's got my previous email that I've sent on there. That might not be the nicest template that you've ever seen for an email, but obviously it's a quick one on there. You can customize those. They're completely bespoke. You can have as many as you want, and you can allocate them to all your different channels as well. So you can have different ones depending on the channel. Likewise with the initial reply, the automated response, that comes through on a template as well. It doesn't just come through as a piece of text on its own, which isn't very interesting. It doesn't really link through to the business. If we go back on the queues, I'm going to go already on the web chat as well, just to show you how that one presents. And what you will see is it's pretty much identical to SMS as well. So we've got Leah here. So Leah has started a web chat, and as you can see, she's currently typing as well. So the view is very, very similar. Again, we've got the 3 tabs up at the top, the interaction, the script, and the history of the lead. Something different with web chat is we have a feature that can be enabled or disabled, which shows you the customer's location. Obviously, this could be masked by VPNs. We can't bypass VPNs, but we can get the information that we are given if we look for it. There's also some pre-chat responses that you can add to your chat widget. So as an example here, we can see the information around the query, the date of birth. Some of those they chose not to answer. We can make some of those prerequisites. You have to answer them to be able to start the web chat. And then obviously we can see the chat. So sure, how can I help? And if I send that response off, obviously, again, the SLA has stopped on all of them now. And until I get a response, the SLAs will kick back in again. So we can see, there we go, we've had the response. The SLA now is starting to count up there as well on that particular interaction. And again, I can flick between each one of those as I want to and handle all of those at the same time. Now, going back to my queues, obviously we can receive inbound calls as well as part of an interaction campaign. We don't automatically make outbound calls through an interaction campaign, but we can still receive inbound calls. But one thing to point out here is that when you are dealing with web chats, the call queue is in effect kind of switched off for you, so that you're not given a call and a web chat at the same time. Because of the nature of web chats, you know, you ideally, so I'm not necessarily doing in this instance, ideally it's very quick back and forth conversations. So it'd be really, really difficult for an agent to have a back and forth conversation quickly on a web chat as well as handling a live call at the same time. So it's something that we've kind of taken the decision on, that we will block it. So if you've received an inbound call, you won't receive a web chat. So it works the other way as well. But every other interaction, because the nature maybe isn't as fast as a web chat, you can still deal with those. So I can still deal with everything else whilst on a call, for example. A couple of last things just to mention on here is if we find a lead that's matched, in this example here, what I can actually do is I can choose to call this customer from the interaction. So this could happen on a web chat, this could happen on an SMS, a WhatsApp, a Facebook as well. Up in the top right, we can start a call with the contact. So by clicking that button, it allows me to choose a number or add a number. So it may be that they sent an email in, or on the web chat they said, can you give me a ring on this number? I just need to discuss X, Y, Z on there. I can add the number in, and then I can call them directly from here. So if I just select that, just to really quickly show you what happens in that respect, I just answer the phone and pop that on mute. So we can see that I've still got the email on screen, but I've got the telephony options on that left-hand side as well now. So I can now speak to this customer whilst I'm dealing with it. What happens in the background is the other interactions, I can't handle them because I'm on a call with this particular one. It could get potentially very confusing if I'm on a call and I can click on other interactions. I don't know where I am in there. So those are blocked off while I'm dealing with this call. I can see I've got 2 active interactions for this particular one on the right-hand side. I can flick between the call and the email in terms of the information down at the bottom. So if I need to end the call and move on or add a note for this specific call, it will allow me to do that. I've got my dispositions, my outcomes for the call here. So again, you might have specific ones for this kind of scenario. I can flick back to my email and I can still reply to the email. I can still send them, again, with SMS, web chat, etc. If I was on a call with this customer, I could still send them links. I could still send them messages whilst I'm talking to them at the same time. So I'll just get rid of that call and then I'm back with my interactions. I've now got in, I can see my SL is pretty low there. So I need to reply to this particular customer, head to the website, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Again, not very detailed customer service there, but just for the sake of time, pop that on there. You can send attachments via web chat as well. You can do all that information also on there. And then lastly, again, just to mention, you know, I've got my callbacks on there. Down at the bottom here, I can choose to go into different states. So if I need to manually dial someone, if I need to go on my break, if I need to log out and leave the campaign, etc., I can still do that. What I would first need to do with all my interactions is end those. So close it down, choose an outcome. That will then disappear. I've got my other ones. So obviously, if I request to leave the campaign, I need to deal with these first. So end these interactions, remove them. I've now got nothing left, so I can now log out of the campaign, for example. And that is everything on there. Obviously, I've not shown you WhatsApp and Facebook yet, but for the sake of time, obviously we've just chosen to not show those for now. But they look exactly the same as you've seen with the web chat, with the SMS particularly. It's the exact same kind of layout on there. Everything. It's only really the email that changes slightly in terms of the layout, in terms of the width, in terms of some of the other options on there as well. But yeah, that is everything from me. So I will stop sharing my screen and I will hand back to Kayleigh.
Thanks, Ben. Okay, we've got a few questions to go through. One, I think you've gone back on the chat, but I'll read it out just for the group. Is there a way to send two-way SMS customer CSAT messages?
Yeah, so at the moment we can do customer satisfaction messages from SMS. The way we would handle it though is we'd have, which was the second part of the answer that I didn't manage to hit enter before I had to start talking, is that you could send them like feedback URLs and things like that via the SMS. It is something that we've looked at, and I think a couple of customers have expressed interest in that. And I think it will be dependent upon your requirements, how we would set that up, how we would do that, which is something that goes slightly above my technical knowledge, unfortunately. At the moment, I don't think we can do it if I say we can do an SMS two-way customer satisfaction, but we can do it in terms of links to forms, etc., and do it that way off the back of interactions, etc. I hope that makes sense.
I think so. Yeah, so if you do want to get in touch and clarify what your requirements are, we can progress the conversation a bit further and find out exactly what you need and what we can do for you. We've got another question. If a customer emails in from an unknown email address, are we able to join that to an existing contact? Or will it create a new contact and then need to be merged?
Yeah, you can do that. You can pick up those emails. I think when I showed you the search for the lead, you can do that as a user. What you can also do, obviously, there may be instances where time has gone on between emails, for example. What the system can do is it can pick up that email address and automatically match it. It may be, for example, that an email is sent on a Friday, and then over the weekend when you close, the customer sends another couple of emails. We can get the system to pick up all those separate emails and pull them through to the one user, all as one conversation, rather than it being kind of given out to different people. So yeah, we can certainly match up the customer from the email address and link those back all into that one customer. You can do it manually, or you can get the system to do it for you.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Another question. So how does the platform help me manage the different interaction channels and the priorities on them? You showed the SLA time clock.
Yeah, you can set your SLAs for your users on an individual channel level. You've also got priorities that you can set on your queues and your users as well. So who gets what and how often they get them. There's another little feature that kind of links into that, whereby the system can look for a set period of time that you can set on the admin side of things, where you can kind of say, for the first 30 seconds of receiving an interaction, just look and see if the previous agent is available. If they are, give it to them for a bit of consistency. So there's a couple of other things that you can do with that to kind of manage it. You've also got a live queue screen where you can see your queues and see your demand, see who's in which queue. If there's a higher demand on one web chat channel than the other web chat channel, and you've got half the users, you can simply drag and drop people across and pop them into that channel so they can then start receiving those as well. So there's lots of different admin kind of options and settings that you can do. Too many, numerous for this call anyway, that you can set up and change and kind of jig around those different channels to do different things for you.
Okay, thanks, Ben. I think that is all the questions, unless there's anything else. Usually when I say that, we get a question pop up, so I'll just give it 10 more seconds. But in the meantime, I hope you found that useful. Thanks, Ben, for taking us through Contact Hub Digital. If you are an existing, another question. If you are an existing client though, and you want to move to Contact Hub, that's moving, if you're using Omnichannel now, moving to Omnichannel Digital is absolutely free of charge. If you want to start to use Omnichannel and it's something that you don't do today, then we can talk to you about that with your account manager as well. Sorry, just one more question. Two questions. Is there a way that we can integrate the conversation history into CRM database? And is the voice recorded and stored in platform for use for training and process improvements? So 2 questions in one there, Ben.
Yeah, 100% the voice is all in there. Yeah, any voice stuff is all recorded. And you can go in and you can access those recordings, playback features. You've got notes that you can add to them from a QA point of view, things like that. We also have platform Spoken AI just around the voice side of things, which will pick up transcripts from your calls, sentiment analysis, and other features, which you can do lots of QA options within there, search for certain phrases, words, etc., on the voice side of things. In terms of the conversation history into CRM database, unfortunately, that's not really my field. It's a little bit too technical for me to give you a straight 100% answer. There's lots of integration stuff we can do with the conversation history. I'm assuming you mean there around the interactions, the web chat, email, SMS. I would imagine so. I would imagine we can do things around that, but I don't want to give 100% yes, because I don't know enough about the technological stuff on there. But there's lots of stuff we could do with API and things. So yeah, it'd be great if you could give us a bit more detail on that question. If you want to drop us an email or give us a call around that, and we can discuss, we can get some of the technical guys on that and answer that question as well, and go into the kind of the detail on there. In terms of the web chat at the moment, multiple languages. I've only ever dealt with English on there, so I think we can get it into multiple languages. I don't see why not. But yeah, it's something that, again, we would have to look at as per the requirements of what you need. We've not yet had a customer that's gone down that route, so from a training point of view, I've never had to look into that, so I can't give a 100% answer, unfortunately. But again, please get in touch, drop us an email, and we can look at that question and give you a better answer from someone with more knowledge on that particular subject. Apologies.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Good. Yep. So thank you very much for coming. If there is anything, there's a couple of things that are outstanding there, so we can get in contact with those people who asked a question. Some of them are anonymous, so we don't know who asked it. So please get in contact if you want to follow up on the CRM integration and the multi-language side of things as well. Thank you very much for coming. If you are interested in migrating to Contact Hub Digital, then please reach out. We will help support you. There's loads of guides, loads of people that have made that transition as well, and found it surprisingly easy. I think we always head into these things with a little bit of anticipation, but it's just more retraining, muscle memory, if anything, for agents. It's super intuitive, and a lot of time and effort has gone into understanding user behavior, UX, UI design, spending time with agents on site. So I'm sure that people will find it super easy to use. If you're interested in introducing Omni or multiple channels into your platform and you only use voice now, then absolutely reach out to your account manager or respond to our email as well, and we can talk through what that looks like, what pricing looks like, and talk you through the best contact strategies to achieve what you need to achieve. So thank you very much, Ben. Thanks for everyone for coming, and look forward to speaking to you probably this time next month around something else. So have a good day. See you soon.